don't know why, I just felt a little bit emotional looking at these, thinking of all these soldiers. What did they die for? What did they die for? Like, if they knew how Australia was going to become, would they have enlisted? Would they have deferred? Would they have rebelled? And what was it all about? In their eyes, the Australian country, it was about withholding a way of life, a type of people and a type of community. And it seems like we've kind of become a little bit standoffish in trying to upkeep that quality of life, ranging from policies like selling the superannuation offshore, just the sense of greed, having multiple investment properties. A home used to be a home. And we used to have traditional family values, not just because we're square and because we just wanted to make people feel marginalized. It was because that's what makes society prosper, and it's not sustainable to go outside of those norms. And that's what led civilization to this point, and now it's degrading because we let those standards slip. And when I was young, I was quite left-wing leaning, thinking that anyone who went to war, I didn't really understand. I didn't understand where they're coming from. I thought, well, I would never pick up a gun unless I knew exactly what the war is about. But people just had so much patriotism, had such love for their homeland. And yes, the propaganda was strong, but people also respected their government. They knew that the politicians weren't just snivelling little cowards, just looking out for their own back pocket. And also, it's like, why? What is the point of that? What is the point do you get out of that extra money? Like, I'm thinking about how, like, Australia used to be a Christian country, and the idea of Christianity is that there's almost a socialist, like a national socialist element of Christianity, whereby you kind of want everyone to be on the same page, and that the idea of heaven is that all the souls are kind of one. They have the same energy, the same life force, and they're all in it together, but they need to have a shared goal. And so Australia needs to have a shared goal, and it's practical. How many countries have a shared goal and they are flourishing? And yes, the economy isn't everything, but it's something. It's something. Because, bless you, it just doesn't feel right to have self-hatred. Like, I don't know, to me, the radical leftist agenda has taken over Australia's subconscious, and it's kind of culturally normal now to be like, Australia is just a totally backward country, and every single element, every single stripe of beauty and architecture is entirely foul-gotten from being at the hands of colonizers who did foul deeds to the local Aboriginal people, and therefore every single achievement is a reflection of the war crimes, and so is not to be respected. And that agenda has been pushed down our throats in educational institutions, in the media, by these terrible soulless celebrities that are on coke and just doing weird sex stuff. You're supposed to have a sense of patriotism and love your country. And I was raised to think that you shouldn't do that, to be anti-Australian. And now I'm trying to do my best to see that my children, my daughter and my grandchildren, eventually, and great-great-grandchildren, when I die, that there's still something worth protecting. And what is Australia? I just wish that it would be so amazing to have a time portal to 1939 and talk to the Australian men and women and find out what they loved about Australia, what they want to protect, what that makes up Australia, and the idea of shared vision. Because Australia's main involvement was against the Japanese. It wasn't against Germany, which Winston Churchill really pushed. Germany wanted to have peace. England kept instigating it. And England became in debt to Teddy Roosevelt in the United States after World War II. Incredibly indebted. There was a financial agenda by certain banks to encourage that war and to encourage England to attack Germany to keep it going. Germany initially took over the regions of Poland that were theirs before the First World War, which was another banking war. It wasn't just because the Germans are evil. The Australians' main involvement was in the Japanese, because the Japanese were taking over areas of China and they were attacking parts of Australia, northern Australia. And the Australians didn't want Japanese to take over because they have a different way of life. There's different values. It was based on Western European value system. That's what made it to this point it is today. And it's partly the reason why they won the war. The Australians won the war against the Japanese because of their cultural values and genetics that made them superior to the Japanese in war tactics. And you think about what happened to the Western world since World War II. Everything's gone downhill. Manufacturing, cultural, family decline, the incessant need for debt. We've really taken a downward spiral. So even though we're the so-called winners of World War II, we were the losers in some aspects.